We can now look at Republican reaction, a bipartisan Senate bill that would curtail a president's power to implement tariffs has gained the support of 6 additional Republicans. Republican Senator Chuck Grassley of Iowa is co-sponsor of the bill. And now Senators Jerry Moran, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, Mitch McConnell, Tom Tillis, and Todd Young have all signed on to support the measure. The legislation would require a president to notify Congress of a new tariff within 48 hours of implementation and explain the reasoning behind it. It would also require new tariffs to expire after 60 days unless Congress approves them. The White House has already said it would veto the bill if it were to pass both the House and the Senate. Meanwhile, 2 sources tell NBC News that during a House GOP conference call on Sunday, Republican Congressman Darrell Issa of California asked for a detailed briefing from the White House on the tariffs. House Speaker Mike Johnson, for his part, asked that members trust the process and the president. In addition, he told them he'd arrange for someone from the administration to talk to the conference. The rumblings in the House come as the upper chamber has grown more vocal in their concerns. Take a listen to Republican Senators John Kennedy and Ted Cruz.
I think by introducing the tariffs, to the extent that he has, this is President Trump's economy now. I don't think it's believable for anyone to say that President Biden or any former administration caused what's happened.
And I got to say, if we're in a scenario 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, with massive American tariffs and massive tariffs on American goods in every other country on earth, that is a terrible outcome. It's terrible for Texas, which obviously I care about deeply, and it's terrible for America. It will hurt jobs and hurt America. Number one, it would destroy jobs here at home and do real damage to the U.S. economy if we had tariffs everywhere. Number two, and this is a virtual certainty, inflation, this is going to have a powerful upward impact on inflation.
Which, you know, it's what
can't be more clear than that.
Every economist says. Let's and that you're starting to hear this. You're certainly starting to see Republican senators, especially from farm states, really starting to get nervous because their farmers are going to pay for this. Again, the very people that can afford this the least are the ones that may get hurt here. Ed Luce, though, I want to go back to Mike Johnson saying trust the process. $11 trillion of wealth wiped clean. That's not just in New York City or Los Angeles, the left coast. That's also in Louisiana. That's in Texas. That's across red state America. The loss is pretty significant. We'll see, again, hopefully a good rebound today. It looks like we may have one. But again, the idea that the Speaker of the House, the third most powerful person in America, has no better answer after $11 trillion of wealth wiped clean than to say trust the process. I've been in the House. That leaves a lot of members of the House not trusting the Speaker.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I guess that's Mike Johnson's way of saying we have no collaboration in this process. It's not just true of Republicans in Congress, Republican leaders in Congress. It's true most of the time, seemingly, of Trump's cabinet officials. People like Scott Bessent of Treasury are clearly not in the loop here and find themselves floundering on TV trying to explain what Trump has just done. Look, I think the sort of deeper problem here is trust in the American system. The world has got used to, over history and over dealing with America, the very famous, justly famous checks and balances that are built into the American system. What we have happening now is essentially a king or a Roman emperor crooking his finger and the market goes up 2 trillion, uncrooking it, it goes down 2 trillion. That kind of power in one man is an extraordinary situation that I think is causing real nervousness. We've been amongst foreign investors and you know that a huge share of American debt, of U.S. Treasury debt, is held by foreign countries. And yesterday we started seeing 10-year Treasury bonds and 30-year Treasury bonds being sold off. These are the safe assets that you fly to in COVID, in the '08 meltdown, whenever there's a panic, you flee to Treasury bonds. I think that there's a reevaluation now going on about how safe those assets are. And that's because the foreign holders of these assets are worried about who's in charge of the United States. The Speaker doesn't know what he's going to do next. His Treasury Secretary doesn't know what he's going to do next. This is essentially a Roman emperor having fun with this extraordinary power over global asset markets. It's not a good thing, and it's not a very American thing.
Willie, it's interesting that Ed brings up the Treasury Secretary and his discomfort. We mentioned it yesterday on the air that every time he's on TV this past weekend, the poor guy looked petrified. I called around with contacts, people that have known him on Wall Street, known him in the finance industry, several saying he's deeply uncomfortable, not only with tariffs, but deeply uncomfortable with the position that he's been put in. And he is obviously, as Ed said, also odd man out.
Well, again, the secretary is a very successful businessman. He understands how this works. A professor of economics at Yale for many years. Clearly, he understands that these are a bad idea, and then put in the uncomfortable position, as you say, of going out and having to defend the tariffs. So, Jim Messina, as you look at this from the people you work with, the people you talk to, the people you advise, how are they planning to grapple with all this domestically, but also around the world? How are they reading Donald Trump right now?
Yeah, look, I have over a dozen presidents and prime ministers as my clients, and I agree with what Ed just said. There is complete uncertainty about what this guy wants and what he is going to do. The one thing that prime ministers, presidents, and CEOs all have in common is they hate uncertainty. And what you've seen is just beyond uncertainty, with the market wild swings based on comments and bad rumors and all of this. And what happens, you can't plan. His whole goal here is, I want to bring people back to America. I want to make them create jobs in America. With this kind of uncertainty, when you're not knowing where the tariffs are, you can't plan that. You can't start to make investments that are going to take 5 to 10 years going forward. So all of my guys are sitting back trying to figure out what's happening. And then you kind of look at tomorrow. There's a consensus, the people that I'm talking to, that China's not going to back up today, and that tomorrow Trump's going to impose more rounds of tariffs. We are finally going to realize we're in a full-blown trade war, and that all caused by one guy who yesterday in the Oval Office said, I'm the only guy who could do this. I'm the guy who's right for this moment. And he is right. He now owns this economy. He owns all these decisions. Senator Kennedy, who just said, has it exactly right. This is now Donald Trump's economy, and these members of Congress are about to lose their minds.
And that's why so many Republicans are starting to speak out quietly, but expressing some anxiety about what's happening here. And there shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that Donald Trump is imposing these tariffs. What has surprised even some of his staunchest allies is just how big he went, that he went across the board at these huge numbers. And we are seeing, you mentioned the Treasury Secretary, some rifts start to emerge within the administration. Elon Musk has been out there suggesting he's not supportive of these tariffs, doing it on social media. No direct confrontation with the president yet, I am told. I have new reporting on this today. The Treasury Secretary has met with the president, not opposing tariffs, because we need to talk about these differently. We need to talk about end games. We need to give the market something to look towards. But then there are hardliners, Peter Navarro, Howard Lutnick, Stephen Miller, who's sort of an overlooked power source in this. They're all pushing for these tariffs, wanting to be punishing China and the rest. And where we are now is Trump, for the moment, is willing to ignore what had been his usual pressure points. He's ignoring the slides on Wall Street. He is ignoring unflattering cable news coverage, which in the last day or so has started on Fox News as well. After a couple days of being sort of ignoring this, Fox yesterday also started to dwell on the ramifications of this, Willie. And right now, he is he said he's willing to take the political pain. The question is for how long, and those around him want to know, what is the off-ramp here? At the end of the day, everyone assumes Donald Trump will have to declare some sort of victory, but no one quite knows what that victory looks like. Is negotiations enough? We heard Japan yesterday, they're going to start. Or do they need sort of concrete investments? Because if that's the case, that's going to be a long time, and there's a lot more economic pain between now and then.
Yeah.